Hi, Matt. How are you? Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to be here. This is the Dusty Wheel, and it's Matt Hatch. And actually, let me introduce you to my co-host, Anas. He joined and he kind of co-runs. We co-run and co-stream the Dusty Wheel now. So,
Oh, wow. Oh, it's lovely
yeah,
to
Hi,
meet you.
good to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank
yeah,
you.
he gets
Thank
to
you.
jump
Awesome to
into
meet
the.
you.
I just needed to find somebody that was willing to do 12-hour live streams with me, and he signed up. So,
You threw your hat in the ring.
exactly.
It happened. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
So, Maddie, before season one premiered, long, long ago, right?
Mm,
I asked you how the words "you are part of us and we are part of you" that Nynaeve tells Egwene as part of that initiation event into the women's circle, how it affected Egwene as she left the Two Rivers. So I'm wondering now, are those words still close to Egwene as she kind of steps into season three? Does she still feel connected to Nynaeve, her home, and the
mm.
women's circle?
Absolutely. Every time I hear those words, it always like really moves me. Because throughout her life and her journey, Egwene has always drawn from the strength of the women's circle, and that is like a fundamental part of who she is. It's her like origin story, and she's always looked to other women around her for support and guidance, and she's looked up to them, whether it's Nynaeve, Moraine, Elaine, or now the wise ones. uh so she's always really lent on the women in her life for support and guidance. I think this season, her time that she spends with the wise ones, they really help her look inward and heal from the brutality that she experienced in season two with the Shonchan. But they also help her realize what she's capable of and how strong she really is. I mean, even there are moments in my life where I was just saying before, I was like swimming in a river and the current was kind of going a bit fast. And I was like freaking out a bit. And I was like, just trust the river, just lie on my back and trust the river. And it was all great. And so I was like, whew. So I definitely apply it to my life as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that's really cool to hear. Obviously, this is one of those books that we're looking forward to seeing adapted.
Yeah.
Just you bringing up the wise ones, I'm like, yes, okay, give us some season three, going with the wise ones. Now, before you get there, of course, you told us, um, before season two even began, that the trauma that Egwene experiences as a Damane would have a massive lifelong
Mm.
effect on Egwene, and something she would never forget, and it would have forever changed her. Like, how does that show up with Egwene in season three? Like, are there
Hmm.
obvious or kind of subtle things that we'll see as viewers where we
Mm.
can kind of see the effects that it's had?
Yeah. I think like immediate changes is she's got a new like fancy bob. Thank you, Renner, for hacking off my hair. Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
that's probably the first one. But no, I think we really find a more steelier, um, reserved Egwene. I think she's much more comfortable now being observant and and I think she's still hiding a lot. She's hiding a lot from herself and from her friends around her about her time as a Damane. And this season, we see her work through it and we see her on her path to healing and recovery. And this trauma it's still manifesting in her in physical ways, but also, in her dreams, in her sleep. And she's continually being haunted by it, and she will continue to be haunted by it until she, you know, actually faces it front on. And that's something that we see the wise ones help her with. And that was exciting to get a bit of closure on that chapter of her life, because it was also quite difficult stepping back into that mindset after so much time, at the beginning of season three. So it was nice for me to see her heal and being on that path. And I think it would be nice for the audience to see that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't wait to, you mentioned the wise ones and, meeting the Aiel. We met some and now Egwene, meets the wise ones, and that's an kind of the Shadow Rising in season three. What does it mean to you to play a character that's described as, Aiel in her heart?
Yeah. I mean, she's strong, determined, and has like a very, very unwavering moral compass, which I think, feels like a very Aiel thing to have. Certainly say with like Avienda, we see how unwavering she is on what her beliefs are. And I feel like Egwene has that as well. And also it's a huge honor as a wetlander to be accepted as an Aiel. Sorry, as a wise one. That is like, you know, starting off as an
Right.
intern and being, promoted as straight away to CEO. Like that is just unheard of. Um,
Right,
so
right.
it's like a huge
Yeah.
honor to be welcomed into such a stoic, proud, um, you know, group of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're still confused about Giotto, and now that Egwene's been, exposed to the Ellie culture, can you explain Giotto to us?
I feel like I'm still sort of struggling to understand it myself, to be honest. I would be relying on you guys. You guys are like the source of
We're
information.
just
So
wetlanders.
I
We're just
I feel like
wetlanders.
yeah. I feel like if I was to try and explain, I'd probably be cast out from the fandom forever anyways.
Now I want to do it. I want to throw this one out to you. These are kind of like some just word associations. And so just
Hmm.
first words that come to mind when you hear like a person or a place, okay?
Great.
So Aiel wise ones.
Temple.
Gawyn.
Gawyn. Abs.
Teleron.
Teleron Riyadh. Oh, goodness me. Airy. Like a feeling of airy. Like it was very airy every time I felt like I was in Teleron Riyadh.
Yeah. Lanfear.
Sexy.
Agreed. Um,
Yeah.
Rand.
Rand. Also sexy.
Okay, so that's I mean that leads me to my next question here. I mean we see Egwene tested in the Arches in episode one, um, and there's a focus of that is like hunting down Rand.
Mm,
And how does this like testing affect how she perceives who Rand is to her
mm,
and like what their relationship can be, especially moving into the future?
mm. Well, I think Nynaeve puts it perfectly in episode one when she's speaking with Lan. She's like, even though the reality may not be real, in the Archers, the memories are.
Hmm.
And so I think that Egwene is left with this feeling and this memory and actually seeing Rand at his like demise and her ultimately being the one that has to intervene and stop him. Um, and so I think from then on, she is fully dedicated to being by his side and joins Moraine in the similar cause of being like, I will be by your side to either help you save the world or stop you if I have to. And so I think that's why she is leaning so heavily into like advancing her skill set and evolving is so that she can be powerful enough and ready to be with him because he's like an exploding sun. He's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful. And it's going to come to a head. And so I guess she's trying to play catch up a bit. And I think that's one of her biggest regrets at the end of season one when she's like, I wasn't ready to be there with him, but hopefully I can be now. So I think that's what her drive is in terms of leaning into honing in on her powers is this season.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of
Okay,
sense.
we're coming up to the end of our time. Are there any three words you would use to describe where Egwene is at the end of season three?
Yeah. Wow. Um, I think scared, resolute,
Hmm.
and evolved.
Perfect. Yeah.
Which
I
is
mean,
all
I
like
like
that's
it.
Egwene.
No,
three
that
different things in all the opposite directions, but
no, that was awesome. Thank you, Maddie. And
thank you
Thank you
maybe this
so
guys.
final
much.
note, who was your toughest teacher then? Nynaeve, Moraine, or the wise ones?
Nynaeve, Moraine or the Wise Ones. The Wise Ones,
Okay.
for
Well,
sure.
this
Yeah.
it was so awesome. We can't wait to see season 3. Maddie, thank you for chatting with us.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's great to
Thank
see you again.
you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Yep.
See
See
ya.
you. Bye-bye.